All right, black and white sports supporters. Well, we're going to talk about Unrivaled's continuing steamrolling towards a full-on demise of the women's 3x3 basketball league. I got to thinking about something. Let me peel back the curtain. I can remember when the news on this league broke, all right? We found out about this league. Matrix sent me a link.
Something is unraveling behind the scenes of women's basketball, and it's happening fast. A league once pitched as the future is now fighting to explain collapsing viewership, nervous investors, and a major media partner suddenly backing away. And at the center of the speculation is the one name everyone keeps whispering: Caitlin Clark.
Yes, sports podcast. Go subscribe. And we were talking about Unrivaled, and one of the things that I just come right out and said was, did Nafisia Collier and her husband, and I understand this is speculation, I'm asking a question out loud, but did they promise Caitlin Clark was going to play in this league to a lot of investors and to TNT Sports and then didn't deliver? Was that part of this? I can't help because I can't figure out, outside of the league being a virtue signal. And
Unrivaled launched with bold promises. A women's professional 3x3 basketball league. Big names, big funding, big media backing from TNT Sports. It was framed as a solution, an alternative for elite players who supposedly no longer wanted to play overseas during the offseason.
was that part of this? I can't help because I can't figure out, outside of the league being a virtue signal. And look, we've watched over the last 7 years companies absolutely just burn money for the sake of a social movement. In this case, We Are Women, Hear Me Roar kind of movement. Yeah, has that happened? Sure. And it's very possible. But it's been baffling why so many investors did get behind this league, because there was no precedent of success.
Then came the speculation, and it did not originate from Unrivaled's critics alone. On multiple sports podcasts and commentary shows, a question began circulating publicly. Not as an accusation, but as an open concern. Did Unrivaled's founders imply, or allow investors and media partners to believe, that Caitlin Clark would eventually be involved? No proof has ever surfaced that Clark agreed to play. None. But the silence around the question has fueled the controversy.
It's been baffling why so many investors did get behind this league, because there was no precedent of success to have decided to have created it to begin with. Remember, and this whole league was built off the idea that women didn't want to go overseas and play basketball anymore, and we're finding out that's a lie. Now, Alyssa Thomas just come right out and said, no, we ain't got no problems going overseas playing ball. As soon as Project B showed up and started paying real money, boy, they decided to pack their bags real fast and head overseas.
Here's the reality. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's a market mover. Since her arrival in professional basketball, viewership has surged, ticket prices have risen, and media attention has exploded. Networks know this. Sponsors know this. Investors absolutely know this. So when a league struggles to explain why its audience disappears, the absence of Clark becomes impossible to ignore.
Loud exclusive content, videos, live streams, etc. Anyway, so we all know this, right? Unrivaled, the viewership, it's fell off a cliff. In the start of its second season, viewership has fell off a cliff. We knew it was going to be bad. I got to admit, didn't know it was going to be this bad. I mean, they have actually exceeded my bad expectations, which is, I couldn't have been much lower. I mean, on the farm animal totem pole of expectations, I was
Unrivaled was built on a central premise that elite women's players no longer wanted to play overseas. That premise didn't just weaken, it collapsed. When higher-paying international opportunities emerged, players left, quickly. Public statements from players confirmed there was never resistance to overseas play when the money made sense. That contradiction struck at the foundation of Unrivaled's identity.
Uncertainty, that's not a great look. Now, check this out. Unrivaled reportedly has a 6-year media rights deal that TNT can opt out of after 3 years. Let me repeat. Unrivaled reportedly has a 6-year media rights deal that TNT can opt out of after 3 years. Should the league fail to gain traction by year 3, its days could be numbered, especially under new ownership.
Then the numbers came in. Season 2 ratings declined sharply. Even pessimistic analysts admitted they hadn't expected the drop to be this severe. And buried inside Unrivaled's media deal was a detail few fans noticed at first: a 6-year agreement with TNT containing a 3-year opt-out clause. In other words, if the league failed to gain traction, TNT could legally walk away.
Gain traction by year 3, its days could be numbered, especially under new ownership. And they're talking about new ownership of Warner Brothers Discovery. And of course, this is one of the big problems. Paige Beckers and Cameron Brett carrying the heavy load for Unrivaled as their biggest stars. Oh boy, that ain't going to get it done. That's not going to get it done. Paige Beckers, we have a face. This proves all of us right. Paige Beckers moving no needles. Zero needles.
Now here's where the internet ran ahead of the facts. Caitlin Clark never issued a statement about Unrivaled. She never criticized the league. She never mocked it directly.
Reruns of Big Bang Theory would do 8 times the amount of ratings that an Unrivaled game live broadcast with announcers and all that. I mean, they can throw on a rerun of Friends and probably get 3 times the amount of views on it. This league it's sunk. It's over. And I still got to wonder why Collier waited so long to decide to have her surgery. I mean, she decided to miss her own league.
The shock wasn't that Unrivaled struggled. The shock was how clearly this moment exposed a truth many didn't want to say out loud. In today's sports economy, visibility is oxygen. And Caitlin Clark is currently the strongest source of it in women's basketball. The idea that a league might have been marketed, even indirectly, on her gravitational pull, without her involvement, unsettled fans deeply. This story isn't about tearing down a league or celebrating its struggles. It's about understanding how modern sports actually function. Star power matters. Media partners matter. And credibility matters most of all. Unrivaled's future now depends on transparency, restructuring, and whether it can survive without the expectation of a superstar savior. As for Caitlin Clark, she continues moving forward, unaffected, unbothered, and undeniably central to the sport's current momentum. Sometimes the loudest statement is the one never made. And sometimes, the absence of a name tells you everything you need to know. Subscribe for more investigative WNBA coverage, because this era of women's basketball is just getting started.